Hello there. Thank you for taking the time to watch yet another one of my tutorials. This one is on kind of a bionic Tron type look. That was an idea suggested to me by a friend of mine. I thought it'd be pretty cool. In this I used blacklight paints and some water-based colors. I will put the materials used in the description. Please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more looks. I hope you enjoy it. Thanks again. The first step that I did in this tutorial was to take some of the white blacklight makeup and just do a light base coat over my friend's face using a makeup sponge. The trick to this, if you're going to do it, is to make sure that it is absolutely even, otherwise it ends up being very blotchy and the blacklight interfered a little bit with the blue blacklight paint that we used later on. So I would recommend, if you need it to be very sharp and clear, to maybe use a different base coat. Once he was covered, I then took a translucent setting powder and just did a light dusting over his face to set it in. Now he's all pale and ghostly looking. I had made stencils thinking this would help to make the application process very quick and very easy, very simple. Also, I thought it would help me keep my sharp, clean lines, which is the key to this look, because anything computerized and bionic clearly has very straight, very sharp lines. My first mistake in this was trying to put it on as one solid piece. I should have cut it up in two smaller pieces and applied it that way. I didn't take into account the contours of the natural face. I then took the blue blacklight makeup and another makeup sponge and just started dabbing over the stencil. I noticed then that because the stencil hadn't stuck perfectly how I wanted it to, the paint was kind of leaking underneath the stencil and blowing out the lines a little bit, and they were losing that sharp, straight clearness that I really wanted them to have. I gave up on the stencil and decided to clean the lines up with a small Q-tip the best that I could, and then dab in the white again. And I took a very fine detailed paintbrush actually, and I decided to use that to just kind of freehand where I wanted the designs to go. The stencils weren't working out, I didn't want to mess it up anymore and take any more time, so freehanding it was the way to go. And if you've ever tried to freehand straight lines on someone's face, it's quite difficult. So just make sure you take your time, don't get frustrated, remember to clean up any edges that you need to clean up. Once he was done with the main design on his face, I drew a design on his mouth. I was really hoping that would pop out and look pretty cool. You can see here the blue didn't pop out of the white as much as I wanted it to. For me, I decided to use a different method. I used a water-based white face paint to do my base coat on my face. When I had tried it out in the blacklight, it came out looking purple, but I decided I would give it a shot because maybe if my face was darker, my color would stand out a little bit more. So I just did a very, very pale coat on there. I also blended it into my hair. 1, to make my hair lay down nice and flat. 2, to it's seamless, kind of like it was an all-around glow, I guess. I didn't want my hair to be distinctly separated from my face. I actually ended up just putting some water in my white cake and rubbing it on my fingers and just kind of smearing it in my hair also. That seemed to be a little bit quicker than using the foundation brush. Once that was done, I just took the same setting powder I'd used on Josh and I just did a quick dusting on my face to set the paint in. Then I took a eyeshadow palette that has blacks and grays and whites, and I just wanted to darken up my eyes. I wanted them to stand out from the pale makeup on my face, and also if I decided to put any of the blacklight paint on my eyelids or around my eyes, I wanted it to stand out a little bit more. I also painted my lips black, the same as Josh's, and I painted on a little tiny blacklight beauty mark on the side of my face that wasn't going to have the main design. And at this point, I got extremely lucky, and another friend of mine who's quite creative and artistic stopped by, and I was able to get him to help with the application on my face. Josh wasn't entirely comfortable doing it, and I would have done it, but I was more comfortable letting someone else do it instead of trying to either freehand straight lines on my own face or try to properly get the stencils placed on there and paint it in. So what he did is he ended up cutting my stencil into smaller pieces and placing them one at a time, kind of piecemeal. He actually used a couple of them more than once in different locations, just turned slightly to get a different look, but to kind of make it all flow together. This seemed to work much better. I think the key here is to learn from your mistakes and not get discouraged, because when we started this, I originally thought it was going to be a couple hours tops to do both the faces using the stencils. I envisioned this very quick, very seamless makeup application, and ended up being about a 6-hour makeup job. Yeah, we started around 8, a little after 8 at night. We got done around 2:30 in the morning. So things don't always work out how you want them to. They don't always go the way you plan. Just roll with it and keep going. You know, come up with a new plan and just move on. I got impatient. I didn't want to wait for the paint to dry because, like I said, at this point it was taking much longer than anticipated. So I used my hair dryer on a cool setting, low speed, and I just assisted the drying process. Once we had my design completely placed, I just took a very fine tipped Q-tip and kind of cleaned up the lines, and Nick did a little straightening and correcting on the lines that I had maybe smudged off too much. And this was the final product. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Again, please learn from my mistakes. We ended up redoing Josh's entire face with yellow instead of the blue. You know, it's one of those things where if it doesn't work out, just keep going. I hope you enjoyed this. Please subscribe to my channel. Have a lovely night. Thank you.